Okay, we are back at Gen Con 2015, and we're in the Greater Than Games room, and we're going to chat with Mr. Christopher Bedell about the Sentinel, I don't know the actual name, the RPG. What's
the Sentinel Comics RPG.
Okay.
Yeah. So this has been a project we've been working on for quite a while now, and it has an amazing design and development team of Cam Banks, Dave Chalker, and Philippe Menard. So I've been really excited to work with those three on this. It's a great storytelling RPG sort of system in which your characters are going to be using their powers and their qualities and their status, depending on what's going on in the scene, to assemble a dice pool and use that dice pool to do things. And so the system works really well. It's a very fast-paced sort of game that is not really a rules-heavy game. It is a very it's more based on the storytelling and the action than it is on the crunchy adding together lots of little numbers to come up with the result. We're looking at putting it out at Gen Con next year, but it depends. It'll be done when it's done. But we've been doing demos of it all weekend here in the room, and the results have been great. People have been really responding very positively to it. So yeah, we've been doing demos with the Freedom 5. I'm missing a couple of the characters here because I just grabbed a few character sheets because they're doing demos right now. I do want to take them all from them. And but so characters will have their character sheet, and they'll have a stress level, which is like their hit points. But then they'll have various zones they can move through. They have the green zone, the yellow zone, the red zone, and then out. So it's called the gyro system: green, yellow, red, out. And when depending on what zone you're in, you have different abilities. So as your stress level goes, as your stress threshold goes down, or as the scene you're in, the environment itself will have zones as well. So if the environment's in the yellow zone, you'll be in the yellow zone, even though you have more stress. So depending on what zone you're in, you can use different kickers to make your abilities better. You also have your powers like strength and flying and things like that, and qualities like leadership and brawling and things like that. And so these are how you would assemble your dice pool. So if you wanted to, say, punch through a wall, you would pick a power. So strength sounds good for punching through a wall, and that gives you a D10. And then you'd pick a quality, and so you could go, it depends on how you want to do it. If you want to just punch through a wall as quickly as you can, maybe it'd be brawling. But if you're like, hey, I'm going to lead a charge of people through a wall, maybe that's leadership. So you would decide how you want to use that. So let's say brawling for that. And then you'd determine what zone you're in. And so let's say that you had a stress level of 22 at the time. That means you're in the yellow zone. And so that means you take a D8 for the yellow zone, a D8 for brawling, and a D10 for strength, and you roll all three of them. Then whatever is the middle of the three die, your mid die, is what your result is, and that's what you do. And then you have, and that's called an overcome check. And so essentially all of the things that would be skill checks in another RPG are overcome checks, and rather than having a specific list of skills, like you can do swimming and you can do building or something like that, you build whatever skill, whatever thing you want to do out of a power, a quality, and a zone die. Characters also have principles, and those principles are like, this is who this character is at their core. These are the things that are important to their characters. I don't have the Wraith here, but she has one of my favorite principles. She has the principle of stealth, in that the Wraith, if she wants to sneak into someplace, she just can. She doesn't have to roll dice for it. She doesn't have to make it. She's like, all right, I'm the Wraith, and I sneak into that building. And it's true, you do. If Legacy wants to interpose himself between an innocent bystander and a source of danger, he absolutely can. If he sees someone in danger, he can be like, nope, I'm going to get in between that person and that source of danger because I'm Legacy and that is what I do. That's one of my principles. Tachyon has a principle of science, that she is always able to do science things. She has a principle of speed. She's able to go very fast. So principles both govern how the things that people can automatically do, but also, for instance, Tachyon's principle of speed, if she purposefully slows down to do something because she has to, she purposely slows down to save the lives of others, she gets a spotlight moment. And this game has spotlight moments in which those spotlight moments add up to give you spotlight moments in an issue. So the leveling and the experience version in the way this game works is you get your spotlight moments, and at the end of a session, you record those spotlight moments and you label that session as a back issue. And so this isn't just a superhero RPG, this is a comic book RPG where you actually collect back issues when you play sessions, and then you can, when you get 6 back issues, you trade those in as a trade paperback for a bonus of some sort. So it takes a lot from not just superhero characters, but comic book characters. And really, that's why each character has on their character sheet their first appearance, and that first appearance is one of the character's back issues, but it also has that checkbox there because you use those back issues for things. You can check that off to create a bit of canon in the world to say, hey, I remember in my first appearance of Freedom 5 Annual number 11 when I had to overcome this challenge, and I remember that there was that computer that was useful to me, and you can check that off and then say, oh yeah, you do remember that, and in fact you see a computer right over there that's very similar to that one, and so you add a bit of story as the player. There's lots of ways in which this RPG gives the players just as much storytelling opportunity as the GM. One of the ways is there are costs printed on each character sheet to where a character has their own innate costs, to where many times you're going to be, when you are doing some sort of action in the game, you're going to succeed at a minor or major cost. And so a player might say, great, I'm going to try to take out that bank of computers. And it's like, okay, you do, but as a result, the wiring sparks and the room is now on fire. And so it's like, okay, you did take out the things, but there's this cost. Whenever that happens, a player can say, okay, I want to take out those computers, but that minor cost of the room or major cost of that room is now on fire. I don't want that cost. I want a cost of my sheet instead. So Unity, for instance, has a cost of ferrokinetic backlash, and it says, hey, as sort of external energy fries your ferrokinesis, causing you to take 1 stress every time you use it. And so now the Unity player says, hey, I do take out the computers, but instead of the major cost of the room catching on fire, I'm going to take the major cost of my powers are experiencing sort of backlash. My powers are fried. And so that way, the players are saying, hey, no, we're building the story to be the way we want it. It's not a positive thing, but it is a true thing. So
cool.
Yeah.
So you said maybe Gen Con next year?
That is the goal, is to have a release of a core rulebook and a starter kit
at
Gen Con next year. But it might be a little bit after that.
Okay.
We're actually really confident. Things are going really well. Like I said, we've been working on this for a while, and it's going very well. But I don't want to commit to Gen Con and then show up next year with nothing. So
okay,
we'll
sounds
see.
awesome, Chris. Thanks.
Thank you.